What if the foods you reach for every morning are slowly destroying your digestive system? What if those comforting breakfast staples you've eaten for years are actually carving microscopic wounds into your stomach lining? What if the very things that feel safe and familiar are setting you up for serious problems down the road? Most people have no idea that their daily routine includes foods that attack their stomach from the inside. These aren't exotic or obviously dangerous foods. They're sitting in kitchens everywhere, considered normal, even healthy by many. Don't worry, because today I am going to reveal the 4 hidden enemies you must avoid, and even more importantly, I'll also share 4 powerful foods that can protect your stomach, along with a special tea that can greatly improve your digestion. Before we begin, let me know in the comments. Have you been experiencing stomach discomfort recently? What do you usually eat daily? What part of the world are you watching from? Drop your comment below. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any more tips on intestinal health. Here are the 4 worst offenders and what you should eat instead. 1. White bread. It seems harmless, but this widely consumed breakfast food may be more harmful than you realize. It's soft, bland, comforting. But that's exactly the problem. White bread has been stripped of everything useful and filled with everything harmful. The refining process removes all the fiber, nutrients, and natural structure that would normally help your digestive system process carbohydrates gradually. What's left is essentially sugar in bread form, combined with chemical preservatives and artificially modified gluten. When you eat white bread, especially on an empty stomach, your stomach has to produce massive amounts of acid to break down this dense, fiber-free mass. The excess acid attacks your stomach lining directly. Meanwhile, the modified gluten creates a sticky coating on your stomach walls that interferes with normal digestion and creates an environment where harmful bacteria can flourish. The process is particularly brutal in the morning. Your stomach has been empty all night, and suddenly you flood it with a substance that requires maximum acid production to digest. It's like pouring battery acid on sensitive tissue, then asking it to work normally for the rest of the day. People over 60 are especially vulnerable because their digestive systems naturally produce less protective mucus. Regular white bread consumption can lead to chronic gastritis, acid reflux, and eventually peptic ulcers. Yet millions of people start every day with toast, completely unaware of the damage they're causing. 2. Black coffee on an empty stomach. This might be the most surprising entry on the list, because coffee seems so benign. Millions of people drink black coffee first thing in the morning and consider it essential to their daily routine. But timing and context matter enormously. Coffee contains chlorogenic acids and phenolic compounds that violently stimulate gastric acid production. When there's no food in your stomach to absorb this acid, it has nowhere to go except into your stomach walls. Imagine bathing sensitive tissue in concentrated acid for hours every morning. That's essentially what's happening. The caffeine makes things worse by relaxing the lower esophageal sphincter, the valve that's supposed to keep stomach acid from backing up into your esophagus. So not only are you creating excess acid, you're also making it easier for that acid to cause reflux and heartburn. Coffee on an empty stomach also triggers the release of gastrin, a hormone that signals your stomach to produce even more acid. This creates a vicious cycle where acid production keeps ramping up with nothing to neutralize it. For older people, this is particularly damaging because their stomachs already produce less protective mucus. The acid erosion that coffee causes takes much longer to heal, and repeated exposure can create permanent scarring. Coffee also interferes with the absorption of essential nutrients like iron, calcium, and vitamin B12, nutrients that are crucial for maintaining the integrity of your digestive system. Over time, this creates a cascade of problems that extends far beyond your stomach. 3. Processed sausage. Spicy sausage and other processed meats represent a different kind of assault on your stomach. Where white bread attacks through acid production, processed meats attack through direct chemical damage. These products are loaded with nitrates and nitrites, chemicals that keep meat looking fresh and red long after it should have spoiled. When these preservatives hit your stomach acid, they transform into nitrosamines, which are highly toxic compounds that cause severe inflammation in your gastric mucosa. The salt content alone is devastating. A typical serving of spicy sausage contains over 800 milligrams of sodium, which causes your stomach lining to retain fluid and swell. This constant irritation prevents your stomach from healing normally and creates chronic inflammation. Then there's the fat content. Processed sausages are typically 30–40% saturated fat, which stimulates excessive bile production. When bile backs up into your stomach, which happens frequently with high-fat foods, it causes intense burning and can lead to duodenal ulcers. The smoking process adds another layer of toxicity. It produces polycyclic aromatic compounds, which are known carcinogens that accumulate in your stomach lining and cause progressive cellular damage. Studies show that regular consumption of processed meats increases your risk of developing atrophic gastritis by 40%. This is a condition where your stomach lining becomes thin and scarred, potentially leading to more serious complications. 4. Artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners might seem like a healthier choice, but they represent a more insidious form of damage. Unlike the other foods on this list, which cause direct chemical or acid damage, artificial sweeteners work by disrupting your gut microbiome. Recent studies have shown that common artificial sweeteners like saccharin, sucralose, and aspartame promote pathogenic changes in gut bacteria. They essentially feed the harmful bacteria in your digestive system while starving the beneficial ones. This bacterial imbalance creates chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout your digestive tract. Your stomach lining becomes more vulnerable to damage from other sources, and its ability to repair itself diminishes. The artificial sweeteners also increase glucose intolerance, which raises your risk of diabetes and heart disease, conditions that further compromise digestive health. What makes artificial sweeteners particularly dangerous is that they're hidden in so many foods and drinks. People consume them without realizing it, thinking they're making healthier choices. But the cumulative effect over years can be devastating to digestive health. What to eat instead? The good news is that certain foods can actually help repair and protect your stomach lining. Do you know what they are? 1. Oats. Cooked oats form a protective gel when they contact stomach fluids. This gel coats your entire gastric mucosa, creating a barrier against acid damage. Unlike processed grains, oats stimulate the production of prostaglandins, natural substances that promote tissue healing and increase protective mucus production. The cooking process makes oats gentle on sensitive stomachs while maximizing their therapeutic benefits. 2. Papaya. It contains papain, one of nature's most powerful digestive enzymes. It breaks down complex proteins into smaller, more digestible pieces, reducing the workload on your stomach. Papaya is also rich in vitamin A and beta-carotene, which stimulate the production of protective mucus. The anti-inflammatory compounds in papaya, lycopene, and quercetin help heal existing damage while preventing new injury. 3. Ripe bananas. They are particularly healing because they stimulate gastric mucus production and have an alkaline pH that neutralizes excess acid. When bananas are fully ripe with brown spots, they develop higher concentrations of pectin, a soluble fiber that forms a protective coating over damaged areas of your stomach lining. 4. Fermented foods. Your gut contains trillions of beneficial bacteria that keep your digestive system running smoothly. These living microorganisms can be replenished through naturally fermented foods that contain live active cultures, essentially reinforcements for your internal bacterial army. When you eat these fermented foods, you're directly boosting the population of helpful bacteria in your digestive tract. This strengthens your entire system's ability to process food, absorb nutrients, and resist harmful invaders. The key distinction is natural fermentation versus artificial acidification. Foods that get their tangy flavor from vinegar or other acids don't contain the living cultures your gut needs. True fermentation creates beneficial bacteria that vinegar-pickled foods simply can't provide. There's no universal recommended amount because everyone's bacterial ecosystem is different. Some people need more reinforcement than others, depending on their diet, stress levels, and overall health. The best sources include yogurt with live cultures, traditional miso, properly fermented sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, tempeh, and fish sauce. These foods have been naturally fermented through bacterial action, not just soaked in acid. What is the most powerful tea? When it comes to teas that are good for your gut, peppermint, chamomile, and fennel all deserve a mention. The ginger tea really takes the crown. Made from the spicy, aromatic root of the ginger plant, it's been a go-to home remedy for centuries. Thanks to its mix of anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and digestion-friendly compounds, ginger tea is especially good at calming an upset stomach and easing all sorts of digestive troubles. The pattern here is clear. Foods that are gentle, alkaline, and rich in natural healing compounds protect your stomach, while processed, acidic, or chemically altered foods damage it. The choice seems obvious, But changing eating habits requires understanding why the change matters. Chronic inflammation is the body's ongoing response to triggers like environmental toxins, poor lifestyle habits, stress, and other factors. When it lingers for too long, it can start to harm the digestive tract, raising the risk of issues such as inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, or leaky gut syndrome. Ginger contains a bioactive ingredient called gingerol, which is a strong antioxidant that can help reduce intestinal inflammation. This may soothe irritation and swelling in the gut lining, potentially preventing further damage. How to make ginger tea. Making ginger tea is quick, easy, and only calls for two things: fresh ginger and hot water. Start with about a 1-inch piece of ginger, give it a rinse, peel it, and slice it into a few thin pieces. Drop the slices into a heat-proof mug, then pour boiling water over them. Let the tea steep for up to 10 minutes, less if you like it mild, longer if you prefer it bold. Strain out the ginger, add a little honey or lemon if you like, and enjoy. Your stomach lining replaces itself every few days when it's healthy. Give it the right conditions, avoid the foods that damage it, and eat the foods that heal it, and it can recover from years of abuse remarkably quickly. The alternative is progressive deterioration that becomes increasingly difficult to reverse. The foods that destroy your stomach are everywhere, marketed as convenient and normal. But convenience has a cost, and that cost is often invisible until it becomes serious. Once you understand what's really happening, the choice becomes much easier. Do you consume any of these foods daily? Leave your comment below. If you found this video helpful, type yes in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out these 2 videos we've selected just for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.